TC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. Over on total for the daily, we are seeing a push down toward the 749 like we said to watch out for. The positive thing is this is filling our gap, our candle wicks, and filling this kind of support level from back here. So this does give us a pretty decent retracement from the quick gains we got. So we could see a potential bounce up from here, providing we see bullish indicators on lower time frames hold. Our VWAP is pushing down, momentum is weakening, and money flow is in the red for the daily. Over on the 1 hour though, that VWAP is starting to push into bullish territory with a higher high and a higher low. So if this maintains above that neutral, we can see momentum continue forward with that double green dot, and that will strengthen that money flow, which can strengthen that higher time frame when that money flow stays in the green. So we do have a pretty decent move down. We do not have any gaps here on total, but if we look over at futures, even though futures is not trading right now, Bitcoin is, if we look, right around 82K or right around 82.6 right now. So if we look at futures, 82.6 would put us right around where these previous candle wicks are. Now, why that's important is futures doesn't trade over the weekend, so this creates the scenario where we did not fill our gap. Now, that leaves us to a double gap. That leaves us with this gap that needs to fill, and then it also creates a scenario where we need to fill that gap to the upside. So us being pushed down here drops us down below our gap to help fill that gap higher. So we can jump up, continue higher, and see bullish momentum from there if we can see higher highs with higher lows, because the push down will still be a lower low. So with this lower high, I would still exercise caution, but we do have the potential for that gap scenario to kick off a bullish run. Our stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum is gaining strength. We'll get an Ethereum and graph for you in a minute, abolisher. Momentum does want to push up, and that money flow is in the red. So I would watch overall. We will jump over to Bitcoin over on the 1 hour. So we do look like we have a little bit more positive scenario here. Our VWAP is in bullish territory. We do have a long lower shadow candle. We did have a long upper shadow, 2 long upper shadows, actually 3. So we tried to get some bearish momentum on these 3 candles. We did not get bearish confirmation. We got a very weak bearish candle after the first long upper shadow, and then we got a bullish candle. Now, if we can get a strong green candle with this long lower shadow, that does have the potential to give us a bounce and a continuation forward. So this could just be another pull back again to fill those candle wicks if we jump over to the daily, filling these previous candle wicks and filling this very quick move up from back here. Remember, when you get a quick move up, you will see a retracement. So now that we've kind of retraced, we are going to look for some stability in this range. Once we build that stability, that's when we're going to be able to push forward. VWAP is pushing up, momentum is gaining strength, money flow is pulling back. So I would watch with that VWAP pushing bullish. That can continue to strengthen the momentum, and that money flow could start to gain strength. Remember, when money flow holds in the green for several hours, that's when those higher time frames will get those stronger candles. Remember, the daily could still see a green candle with that 1 hour pushing into the green, but if you want these big god candles, you need that VWAP to hold more in the green for several hours. It's not going to happen usually just from one very quick flick. Over on graph for you, we are pushing down. We have filled most of our bear flag. We did not delete this flag. We did say there was a possibility of breaking around that 10. We did push down again around that 10. We did push down slightly below, and we're probably about 2/3 of our move. So just for greed's sake, I'm going to delete this pattern because it does look like we do have the potential to see a bounce on the lower time frames. If we get that bounce, we could continue forward, but just keep in the back of your mind, if we do not get that bounce, you will retest the 7716 abolisher. VWAP is pushing down, momentum is starting to weaken, money flow is starting to weaken as well. So overall, I would exercise caution with that VWAP breaking and watch those higher lower time frames. If they do not strengthen, then the higher time frames will continue to push lower. Over on the 1 hour, we did kind of chop sideways, and then we got a breakdown. Remember, we said watch out, we could form a bear flag. This would be a tight flag. That was more on like total and Bitcoin, we said that, but we kind of saw that carry over here on our altcoins as well. So we kind of saw that consolidation and then a breakaway. We did not have a descending channel that broke us forward because the highs and lows didn't really connect too well. They were kind of just inching their way down. Now, if we zoom in though, we do have a gap to the upside. So remember, just like we said for futures, the gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill. So there is an 80% chance we would jump up back toward this 10-cent zone at some point. We also have that long upper shadow candle that had that indecision candle before. So if followed by a strong green candle, we could make a bounce and see that 10-cent zone retested, at which point if we hold that, that's where we would push back toward that 11-cent zone. So that VWAP is trying to break bullish. We do have a higher high with a slightly higher low. So if this VWAP can stay bullish, momentum will continue forward, money flow will start to strengthen, and we will start to push forward from here. You want Anchor as well? We'll jump to that before we get to ETH. That's for Adam. So we'll jump to Anchor just because it's in line, and then we'll jump to ETH if there are no other special requests after that. So thanks for joining us as well, Adam. So over on Anchor, we have filled most of our move down from this bear flag as well. So again, just like Graph, we're going to delete it as it's mostly played out. Don't get greedy. So if you haven't averaged in, maybe you should consider doing so. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is starting to push down, money flow is in the red, VWAP is starting to break down, and momentum is starting to push away, so there could be some further pain, but again, we do look like the other things are starting to push up, so we could push up here as well. Kind of bugging me not having this Fibonacci zone where it needs to be, so we'll zoom out real quick. I think I have that on the weekly, so zoom out real quick. We've had a lot of price history. So Anchor started kind of way up high and then kind of crashed back down. So we will unlock this and then move it if it lets us. Nope, won't let us move it. There we go. So move that over. Hopefully we did not move that zone too much. So we're right at that bottom right here. So there we go. Lock that in, get that Fibonacci zone back where it was, move back onto the daily, and zoom in for us. So we did, that is not the bottom of the zone. I had to fix that later, or we did not lock it, so we can actually bring it back down because our new bottoms were back down there. So unlock it there, that'll help. So we do have the potential to continue lower, continue to the bottom of our Fibonacci area. I believe there may be lower targets that we have. Nope. I'm thinking Graph. I believe Graph was even lower than that at some point, like barely a cent, but we can push down toward around this 14. So for those of you that don't know how the Fibonacci is drawn, you draw it to the bottom. So where this candle is here to the top. So your very top wick where we saw that really goofy wick, that's technically where you would draw it. Now, over on the daily, we did break that resistance of that 2020. We are continuing lower. That is from that bear flag. VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum is dropping and money flow is in the bearish territory. So I would exercise caution. Again, watch for that push down. I wouldn't think we would break too much below that 14 unless we saw some catastrophic things going on with the geopolitical events. Remember, those geopolitical events are going to weigh heavy on the market right now, and they're pretty much the driving factor for everything. But we do have a gap to the upside, just like we had for Graph and for Bitcoin, around that 18.99, so around 19 cents that we could push up to if we do make a bounce forward. Ideally, we would see a little bit of a retracement here, though, because if we push forward from here, we would leave a gap to the downside that could fill, and then that could end up retracing those gains and just eating those away for some further pain later. Our stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is starting to gain strength. It is pushing above that neutral with higher high. We have a technical higher low as well. So we do have a slight bullish trend forming, pushing momentum higher with a double green dot, giving money flow strength. And if this continues, we will continue to push up. So now we will hop over to Ethereum, and then we will be done if there are no other requests after that. So over on Ethereum for the daily, we have the same kind of sideways action here. So I would watch if we do not get the bounce, then we may see Ethereum start to break down. We did say to watch for around this 2K level. Might want to zoom out to the weekly here just to get some better look here. So, oops, did not mean to do that. So we do have some support right around 1871, it looks like. So that'd be down in this consolidation range and back in this consolidation range. We also have candle bodies, another consolidation range. So pretty solid zone there. So you could draw a horizontal line, put a line right there. That'd be your support. Then you'd have another one somewhere in here. Another one somewhere in here. Don't think we go too much beyond those levels. It'd be pretty catastrophic to see Ethereum break that far. But remember, Ethereum has been inflationary. So with it being inflationary, that means that the supply is increasing faster than it's being burned. That kind of decreases the value of the asset. That's why it's been range locked for so long, if you notice on the weekly. So I would watch that. You want that to kind of, the burn rate needs to start to tick up if Ethereum's going to start to push forward. If that burn rate kind of stays below that minting rate, then Ethereum's going to slowly continue its way down, because it's going to continually have more supply than demand. And when you have more supply than demand, price decreases. Our stochastic does want to round. RSI is starting to push down. VWAP does want to break down. Momentum is rounding with a red dot, and money flow is in the red. So overall, I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we are pushing and retesting this zone right here, right around that previous support where we got our first break. So this would be a pretty solid support level if you're looking for like a DCA. Over on the 1 hour, I don't really see any more like candle wicks that we would have besides where we drew that purple line. So our next support is probably about 2K away. So RSI is starting to weaken. Our VWAP is starting to favor bearish. Momentum does want to get a double green dot, so that could help push us forward, but that VWAP needs to break and hold above that neutral if that momentum is going to get the confirmation it needs to strengthen money flow and start to push those higher time frames up. So I would watch. Overall, it does look like we may continue to bleed. And again, there is that supply factor to consider if you're investing in Ethereum. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe. I hope to see you in the Discord as well.